Do you ever press this button over here in the elevator thinking that it will make the doors close faster? Actually, the button is doing absolutely nothing. But by pressing the button, it gives us the feeling that we are in control. Now in training, guys, this is visible anywhere. And that right there, that's the illusion of control. The illusion of control means that we think we can control the outcome even though we can't. Alan Langer proved this in the 1970s, where people actually thought that if they would be throwing dice as harder, that they would control the outcome and that the outcome would be different. But this is obviously not the case. Instead, if they would just execute the exact same strategy over and over and over again, and they would let the probabilities of the dice play out, the results probably would be better. In trading, it's even worse, because in trading, guys, there's money involved. After a few wins, people actually think that they control the market, that they know what the market is up to. But at the end of the day, and I keep repeating myself, I feel like in every single video, trading is a game of probabilities. So if my win rate is 67%, there's always the probability that I go on a win streak of 7 or 8 trades. It doesn't necessarily mean that I always win 2 out of 3 trades. It just means that over a longer period of time, my win rate is around 67%. But, and this is like the gambler's fallacy, right? It's not the case that if I lose 2 or 3 trades, that the next trade has a higher probability than 67% to be a winner. Every single time, as long as I execute my strategy, every single time I execute a trade, I have a 67% chance to win the trade and a 33% chance to lose a trade. But important is to always keep on executing your strategy, because the market doesn't care ever.
Is that the ego kicking in?
Yeah, it definitely is. I've done it in the past so many times, Max, where I was winning a few trades and I had the urge to either size up on my trades because I felt like I had it all figured out, or I wanted to take even more trades. But at the end of the day, even though I had a couple of winners in a row, it doesn't mean that my win rate changed. All that it basically means is that maybe the market at that moment in time was in an environment that suited my trading system very well. But I also know that markets, they always move in cycles. So there's also going to be environments again where my system isn't thriving well. Thus, it's even more important that if I go on a few winners, that I already take into account that a losing trade can come at all times, that even a losing streak can come at all times. Because if the market moves from the one cycle, where for example it was very trending towards the upside, goes into a longer period of consolidation that doesn't fit my system that well, then it's probably the case that I'm going to hit some more losers rather than just winning trades.
Sit yourself down, girl, and talk to me. Tell me what's on your mind. Don't keep on telling.
So what can you control as a trader? Once again, guys, let's focus on the process rather than the outcome. What we can control as a trader is waking up, getting behind the charts, and the first thing that we have to do before we start looking for triggers and executions is focus on our bias. Where do we think the market is attracted towards next? Once we have formed a bias, we are going to wait for high probability triggers according to our system. Once we have those high probability triggers, then we start looking for executions. But what we are doing is not focusing on the outcome of that trade. We are not focusing on potential profits or potential losses. All that we are doing is focusing on the process. Once I really started letting go of the results of my trades and I just focused on the process instead, and I think, and this is also a bit difficult to talk about for a lot of people, this has a lot to do with mindfulness. And this is something that I preach a lot, especially for beginning traders. But once you let go of the things that you can't control, and you just focus on the things that you can control, and you become very mindful, your nervous system relaxes, you sleep better, you have more energy, your mind is a lot more clear, and the results of your trades will improve. And this all happens when you focus on the process rather than the outcome.
Is that when things really change for you?
Yes, Max. That 100% is when things really change for me. For me, a lot changed when I started out trading. I was just doing random shit. A lot changed when I started implementing a routine and a structure to treat trading like a business or maybe even like an athlete. Lots of you guys know that I was an athlete before I started trading. It instantly reflected back to my trading results. So there were certain routines and certain rituals that I was doing that I'm still doing to this day. So there's two moments in the day where I can execute trades. It's either when I wake up early during the London session or during the New York session. So one of the rituals that I'm doing every single day is that in between the London session and in between the New York session, I take around 2 hours off, completely off the charts, completely off work as well. What I'm doing, making lunch, Max, my videographer, he knows, going for a walk to the gym, gonna go to the gym, gonna hit the sauna, and then I'm gonna walk back. That is one of the routines, one of the structures that has really helped me to clear my mind before the New York session starts and to also clear the clutter in my mind that I had from the London session. Now, hitting the gym and trading, there is something in those two things that is very, very similar. And I think what is very similar is, once again, that we can't control the outcome. All that we can do is build a solid strategy, have a goal in mind for trading, that is to be profitable, and for hitting the gym, that's to become very ripped and to have a good body and to feel good. But if we focus on the outcome, aka if we focus on being profitable, or if we focus on getting that ripped body, we won't get there. Because all that it will do is make us very frustrated and make us think that we can control the outcome, but we actually can't. All that we can do is build a solid strategy, execute that strategy on a consistent basis every single day, and slowly grow towards that goal of being a profitable trader or getting a ripped and healthy body. Now we focus on the process instead of the outcome. Then we move from the illusion of control to actually being in control. Let's talk news events. You guys know that I love to talk about this because I feel like this is like the perfect example in practice where the illusion of control is coming into play. Because always when we have important news events such as FOMC or Donald Trump might be speaking, everyone is always arguing about the result of the news event. What are they going to say? What are they going to decide? And what is it going to do to the market? But at the end of the day, we can't control any of that. All that we can control during, before or after news events is what the charts are trying to tell us and how we respond to that. So when everyone is always arguing on Twitter or posting endless tweets and endless arguments and endless opinions, all that I'm trying to do is just simply focus on what the chart is trying to tell me, and I actually, arguably, always have my best trades right before, during or right after news events. Because I simply trust what the chart is trying to tell me, I set my limit orders if I have a trigger, and I let the probabilities from my trading system play out. All that news events are doing is speeding up the process of price action and not changing it. So where everyone has the feeling of being in control, if they try to predict the news events and what's going to happen to the market after the news events, the only way that you are actually in control during, before or after news events is if you just focus on the chart, just focus on your system and try to execute it at all times.
So no prediction at all?
None. The chart tells me everything. Another massive illusion in trading is thinking that trading more means that you are in control. Especially after a few losing trades, I know the urge to once again get back behind the charts and start looking for the next setup. And it makes so much sense, right? Because when you are behind the charts, looking for a setup, looking to once again risk some money on the setup and see if the chart is providing you with triggers, you feel like you are in control. Where, especially in your early stages as a trader, when you take a loss, to actually stand up and walk away from the charts and from the screen, it's so much harder and it doesn't feel natural. But at the end of the day, if you are able to walk away from the charts and actually sit it out rather than after losing trades, straight away getting back behind the charts like you are in control, but actually you are not, instead what you should be doing to be fully in control is focus on the next steps of the process. And the next steps of the process are to walk away first, before you even start looking for the next trade, review the trade that you took before, review what went wrong or what went well, and those are the only steps that we have in control and that we can control the outcome on. Now, if we follow the steps, step by step by step, then get back behind the charts, then I can promise you that the result of the next trade will be much better. But the only thing that we can control as a trader is not the outcome, But it's the steps that we are taking in the process. Yeah, true, true, true. That is not a lie. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. So no trade can still be a win.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. The discipline to sit it out is way harder than to actually take another trade. But at the end of the day, it's also 10 times more powerful. The thing is, Max, we as humans, we are control freaks. I myself, I'm a massive control freak as well. So it's very natural to be willing to control the markets as well. But the thing is, the markets, they move based on emotions. They move based on fear, greed, sentiment, name it all. But the markets are always moving based on emotions. So if you're trying to control the markets and trying to control those emotions, you're always one step behind rather than actually just surfing with it. And if we are trying to control what we can't, that's when confusion comes. That's exactly what Epictetus said as well. Confusion comes when we try to control what we can't control. And the same thing goes for the market, because we can't control the emotions of people. We can't control our own emotions. All that we can control is the process of executing certain trades. And that is literally all that we need to do at all times. So what does real control in trading look like? It's all about knowing your edge, trusting the process, sticking to your rules, but most importantly, being okay with losses. Now, if you're doing all of this, you're already way ahead of 99% of the traders who are not doing this. And this is the first step that you are taking in order to build a sustainable trading career.
So it's peace of mind more than anything.
Yes, it's all about controlling yourself and not trying to control the markets instead.